Watch to the end to hear my key takeaways from the AI Advantage conference with Tony Robbins and Graziosi. Hey guys, I'm Harshan and I help businesses use AI to grow faster, save time, and to cut manual work. And I attended this AI Advantage conference last week, Friday to Sunday, and I heard from some of the greatest minds who are really leading this AI direction right now, as well as Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, and they dissected and dove into what exactly is happening right now in the AI sphere, how we can best tackle it, and how we can best utilize it to maximize our productivity and our business outcomes in this age. So without further ado, let's dive into it. What exactly is happening right now? So some of the key concepts that were covered was how we are living in an age of unmuted intelligence. So essentially that means that the cost of computing power and all that stuff is much lower than it has ever been before, and it's increasing at an exponential rate each year. The fact that you can go on your own computer, mobile phone, go into ChatGPT and type queries in literally seconds with hardly any costs involved is an example of that. And that pretty much means that the productivity of each individual right now is much more than it was before. It's 90% or more than what it was in 1995. Whereas if you take an example of someone writing a book in 1995, they had to go through an extensive process of writing the content, liaising with publishers from whole different businesses. There's lead times, wait times, and the computing power to digest that manuscript and make sense of it and all that stuff would have been mammoth. Fast forward now 30 years later to 2025, somebody can write a manuscript, liaise with someone over the internet, get everything done super fast, and essentially be able to produce a working copy and something that's of high material in vastly shorter period of time. And if you compare that to the 1900s, it's 1,000,000 times more productive people are right now than they were at the start of the 20th century. And that has really helped democratize access to all these technologies for everybody to use. And essentially that creates a massive deflationary event. And when I say deflationary event, I mean that the costs of utilizing these technologies and this computing power is much lower than it has ever been. And it continues to increase lower. So this will, as they make its way to industries totally, so education will become cheaper, healthcare will become cheaper as computing power of medical professionals becomes better, and they rival and eventually get better than actual medical professionals themselves. And yeah, so that leads to a massive deflationary event. But the ultimate end outcome of what all of this is, it really expands the human potential of what's possible. So if AI is used in a very deliberate and disciplined fashion, you could use it as a thinking partner to bounce ideas off, to help you achieve your goals, to actually have another voice and conscience that really picks holes in your brainstorming process. And a key part of what was discussed throughout the conference was creating a clone of yourself. And I kind of use this for myself in terms of my own business as well, where I kind of go back and forth with different LLMs, ask it questions to critique me based on my journal entries or other content that I've done in my own business and personal life, and ask it, hey, what are some of my 10 biggest biases that are leading me astray and not maximizing my business potential and outcome? And some of the answers that I get from it are really valuable, and it's essentially using it in that sort of way as a thinking partner to generate output. It can really expand your potential and what you can actually achieve. So the end message there is it's a tool for maximizing your potential and not necessarily replacing you. A human armed with the amplifying power of AI will produce markedly great outcomes than just a human alone. So that was a key message. And the other aspect of it is that AI can automate a lot of the boring and mundane parts of your business and your life. that don't really need your creative output, and that could save you 15 hours a week, 40 hours a week, and a shit ton of time. And essentially the common denominator is it affords you more time to focus more on the creative aspects of your business. So this is exactly what's happening right now. Now I'm going to look at how we can harness this for our own businesses and our own personal productivity. And the key framework that was pushed forward in the conference was the fact that AI can be linked to people, processes, and product. So just as how I explained before, in terms of the people aspect, it could really enhance the output of each particular individual by people engaging with these AI tools. And they could create much better output. So a similar example of having a bit of a sparring session with ChatGPT based on what you enter, and going back and forth in terms of the content that you are discussing, and how and constantly making it pick holes in what you have said and your logic, and going through that entire process. It can really help you unearth a better quality product. I have a mate of mine who is currently planning a global trip. So he's going to go from the southern tip of South Africa all the way to Melbourne, Australia. And he's going to do this by bike. And one of the ways that he uses AI is to pretty much enter all his journal entries and enter all his thought processes about how he thinks, and pretty much ask ChatGPT, which is the LLM that he uses here, how to critique his strategy, what he can improve upon, and how he can get better at it, and pretty much bulletproof his plan so he's best armed to take that on. And I have other mates who even use ChatGPT and other LLMs to critique their fitness goals and their training plans to help them better achieve their goals. And one of my mates trying to get a 100-kilo bench press. And yes, that's a way that he's using AI. The theme is the same, where you're using AI to kind of be a sparring partner and deliver better outputs and ideas for your implementation. The second part we can implement it is in terms of the processes. So processes involve aspects such as, in my business, I have to do customer follow-ups to see how my clients are going with their businesses. And there are ways that I can automate that process by feeding into different workflows, what exactly the client situation is, their job is, and kind of querying to see how further we can help them. So ultimately, that is helping me deliver the best amount of value I can for my clients without forcing me to dive too much deeper into the admin nitty-gritty stuff, which isn't necessarily the creative output of how I can best help this client. So that's a way in which the process aspect can be harnessed and made better through AI. And the last aspect is the product aspect. And when I say product here, it's actually productizing yourself. So me as a business owner, the way I can use AI in my particular consultancy business is creating avatars of myself, so that when I am not available for a conference or to speak at something or to provide my actual live real time, I have avatars or different custom GVTs that are representative of my consciousness, my knowledge, my way of talking, my patterns, that can be of value to different clients out there and people there. And that's a way in which an individual's presence and consciousness can be scaled across the time dimension and can be utilized to help a further amount of people than what can be done straight one-on-one. And again, it's not something to replace the core human in the loop, but it's something to enhance your scalability and your presence for your business and your needs. So that's essentially the ways that we can use AI right now. The third way we can use it now is in terms of a long-term aspect of how we can really modify our mindset and thinking. And this is a part of the conference where the business acumen of the guys there really was stressed upon, especially Tony Robbins. He was pretty much focusing a lot on the psychology of human behavior and how we can better harness all of this to get tangible results in your own personal life and also in your business. And the key aspects of that is they really highlighted how AI is really improving the technical cognitive power of things, and something that really cannot be directly done or replicated by AI to the same extent as humans is our human qualities. So those are the soft skills such as trust, kindness, caring, courage, adaptability, curiosity, empathy, wisdom, and humor. And it's these skills that are, when interfaced with everything that's all the technology that's available in today's landscape, is what will help you really impart the greatest amount of influence and impact for in your region of influence to really get the best outcomes that you want. So it's a timely reminder that will become clearer as time progresses and everything else gets automated away, that these are the aspects, the intrinsic core aspects of humans that will always remain and will always be probably a distinguishing characteristic of us. So focusing on that and ensuring that you're honing down that in each of your interactions and behaviors is a sure way to, in a simplistic and boiled down way, to have the best possible influence and impact you can on your people, your clients, your organizations, and just the way you conduct your life. So yeah, human qualities is a big thing. And then moving on from that, the aspects of making any successful outcomes or generally achieving success in life boils down to these core aspects that Tony really stressed upon. It's about having a clear vision. What do you want to do? And having that fully fleshed out, so you know your mission, you know your values, and you know what you stand for. And that'll help you better align all your actions to achieve that end goal and essentially say no to the things that are important, so you're effectively saying yes to your actual vision and goals. So having that zoned in is super important so that you don't get distracted away by the noise and clutter of all stuff, not just AI, but just in general. And the other aspect that he touched on was being decisive, that when you make decisions for your business and even in life, it's about making a decisive action, and that making that strong decisive action leads to massive momentum, and doing that over and over again, decisiveness and massive action, massive momentum, will ultimately help you create a series of progress that cannot really be undone, and it'll kind of guide the trajectory of your journey in that endeavor. And just being relentless throughout the whole process is what will be a really distinguishing characteristics beyond just intelligence of the person or what you're capable of. And ultimately tying all of that together is the pattern recognition, utilization, and creation. Tony really stressed how everything around us is a series of patterns, and it's about doing our best to understand them and make sense in them and kind of utilize those patterns to make yourself better. And that's where volume is a huge thing, especially for myself in my particular business. As I progress further in my business, engaging in more volume of interactions with clients and helping more clients out, I progressively get a more refined and consolidated and fleshed out picture of what are the actual pain points for small and medium-sized businesses out there, and how I can help and how can I utilize that knowledge to create solutions that would be of great help and actually move the needle forward and help people in what they're doing. So yeah, that's pretty much it, what was discussed in the conference. There was a strong theme towards actually understanding what's happening now and getting abreast with this exponentially fast-moving world and technological landscape we live in, what we can do now, and from a longer-term perspective, how we can harness everything out there to get the best possible outcomes for ourselves and also our businesses, and all the psychology that would be best to give us the best chances of getting the best possible outputs. So yeah, that's it from me. I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for listening. If you like this and this sort of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye for now.